In this video, I'd like to show you the most common questions that Trader Joe's ask in their interviews and also help you plan brilliant answers that will get you a job working there. So let's start with a really key question and one that you can blow the whole interview if you don't answer well. And that is simply, what is your availability? And for this question, you need to first think about what Trader Joe's actually want to hear. So think about, if you are interviewing someone for this job, what sort of answer would you want to hear? And so let's look at the key elements of a good answer. So firstly, you want to try and be as flexible as possible. So in your answer, you want to show lots of flexibility. And we're going to show you some key phrases that you can use that score really highly and get them interested in hiring you. The second thing is you want to be open-minded. You want to try and work as wide a range of times as you can, and also try and say yes to as much as you can. So if they ask about certain times, you want to be in a mind frame where you say yes to as much as possible. And you also want to be demonstrating commitment. The way that people mess up this question and actually fail the whole Trader Joe's interview is they immediately start talking about all the times that they can't work. So they say that I'm not able to work on Thursdays, or I prefer not to work weekends, and they give a list of all these times that they can't work, and they forget to focus on the times that they can do. So focus very much on what you can do, show off lots of flexibility, and you'll score much more highly. If you start talking about all the times you can't work, it basically causes them to question whether you're really committed to the job, and your score goes right down. The other thing that you want to think about is the best answers. So here's some great phrases that you can use. You can say things like, I can work to meet business needs. You can say, I'm happy to work store opening hours. So look at the range of opening hours that your Trader Joe's store is open at. And if you're happy to work a wide range of those times, and you can basically work any time the store is open, well, that's a great answer, because that perfectly answers the question. You could say that you're open to overtime. You could also use the great phrase, which is that you're always happy to help out when needed, and that you could perhaps work when there is shortages in the store and you can jump in at short notice. And the other thing with Trader Joe's is they often get people to work varied shift times. So you might not have exactly the same times every single week. It may move around a lot. So if you say that you're open to varied shift times, you're probably going to be offered varied shift times. So just say that, and you're preempting a future question, and you're going to score well on this question. So let's move on to a really, really important question, which is, what do you know about Trader Joe's? Obviously, if you go to an interview without having done your preparation, you're going to fail, and you're not going to do very well. They would rather employ someone that's done lots of research and is really, really enthusiastic about learning about the company and knows about the company than someone who hasn't bothered to do any preparation. If you are asked this question directly, the first thing you do is you say the obvious facts. Then you show that you've actually done some research, and then drop in one or two facts that are quite impressive that will show that you're highly knowledgeable. And in this answer here, I'm going to show you all of these facts that you need to remember, and you can use these throughout your interview, and it'll give you a good overview of how Trader Joe's actually works and how their business functions. So when you're asked this question, you start by saying that it is a chain of neighborhood grocery stores. That's how they describe themselves. The focus of Trader Joe's is very much on low prices. They want to get prices as low as possible. They compete on price. Trader Joe's is typically cheaper than many other grocery stores, and that's why people come there. They come there for good quality at a very, very low price. There is no loyalty program. Trader Joe's is all about looking at a supermarket and saying, where can you cut costs? What can you cut out that's going to get the lowest prices? Loyalty programs basically work by building in a discount for some customers and putting up the price for everybody, because they're still wanting to make the same amount of profit. They just pass on the expense of the loyalty program back onto the customers. They don't do coupons. Again, coupons benefit some customers and they put up prices for other customers. They don't do that. They're trying to cut out every single cost that they can. They have very, 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 very incredibly high sales per square foot. So if you measure the area of the store and you look at the amount of sales that that store generates, they get a lot of sales from a very small area, and that keeps their costs down in terms of rent and in terms of building the retail stores. They have a lot of own label brands. This is not somewhere that you go to pick up lots of big brands where you pay a high price. They source a lot of their own things and package it in their own brands. Most famous one is Charles Shaw wine, which in some states is sold for $2, so it's sometimes called $2 Chuck. Though in different localities there are different prices, so be aware of what your particular Trader Joe is charging for that. They were founded in 1958, if you trace it right back to the origins, and the Trader Joe's brand came in 1967. They are two quite good numbers to remember, and you might want to drop them at some point in your interview to show that you know this. It is founded by this man who's obviously got the first name Joe, and that's part of where the name comes from. The second thing is that the Beverly Hilton, which is a very, very upmarket, very expensive hotel, had a restaurant in it called Trader Vic's, which was extremely expensive and catered to the upper classes. Joe, who was the founder, changed this to Trader Joe's to cater to a lower income, but still provide very, very high quality. So it's a bit of a play on that restaurant name, that posh, fancy restaurant. So switching it from Trader Vic's to Trader Joe's after the founder. And that's where the name comes from. The company is owned by, or rather the family of, Theo Albrecht, who is one of the founders of Aldi. And it's basically one of the brothers who owns part of the Aldi empire. And there's the Aldi North and Aldi South. So Aldi Nord is one of the branches of the enormous Aldi corporation. And Aldi Nord is the one that owns Trader Joe's. My other top tip is take some time and read the Trader Joe's About Us page, where you can fill in even more details and make sure you have amazing knowledge of the company. So remember as much as you can from this and be prepared to talk a little bit about it or drop this knowledge throughout the interview, and that will really help you be well prepared. Let's look for a really, really, really important question, which is, why do you want to work for Trader Joe's? Obviously, if you can't plan a good answer to why do you want to work for Trader Joe, that's not going to go down very well. You need to have a well-planned, strong answer for this. And this is one of the most important questions in the whole interview. So make sure you take some time to bullet point out a basic plan, and so you know what you're going to say on the day. And I'm going to help you plan a really good answer to this that will score highly and will help you get the job. So the first thing you need to think about when you're planning your answer is simply, why would you enjoy working at Trader Joe's? What about the job is things that you would really like doing? And by saying the things that you would enjoy, it's going to suggest that you're going to actually like your job, which is going to mean that you're going to be probably much better at it. So think about, do you enjoy working with customers? Do you have experience working in customer service roles in the past that you really enjoyed? Do you like the idea of working in a grocery store? Have you worked in a grocery store before and enjoyed it? Have you been a customer and actually like the store environment and like the business? These are things that you could think about. Another good thing to mention is that Trader Joe jobs are quite active. You're going to be moving around a lot. And the way that they keep costs down is that they get staff to do lots of different jobs. So when the store is very busy, you might have lots of people on the checkout, whereas when the store is quiet, you might be doing other jobs around the store. So you'll be moving around lots of different jobs throughout the day, and that's going to make your work that little bit more interesting. The next thing you might want to think about is career opportunities. Are you someone who is very ambitious? Do you hope in the next 5 years to become an assistant manager, or perhaps longer term become a store manager? And do you see yourself growing and developing with the company? The other thing you can talk about is what we call brand affinity. Have you shopped at Trader Joe's for many, many years and you really like their brand and you think that they do a great thing by offering very low prices and very high quality products, and you can share in that enthusiasm. And the key thing is you want to show lots of enthusiasm. When you're answering, you want to be really happy, really positive, because that's going to help you score well in this question. There are certain things that people say in answering this question that go down really badly. So let's look at the things you must avoid. So don't say anything about I'm very close to a Trader Joe's. So giving the idea that you want to work here because it's convenient to you, that's not very important to them. And it suggests that you're applying for the job for perhaps the wrong reasons. They're not going to like that. Don't give the idea that you just want this job because you're going to have to earn some money. Don't ever give the impression that you're just getting this job until something better comes along. Never talk about leaving the company at your interview. You have to get the job first before you even get the chance to leave it. And bringing up future plans that involve quitting your job is not a good thing to talk about in your interview. And basically, anything that is not relevant to Trader Joe's and isn't going to give the case that you're going to be good at your job isn't the right thing to talk about. So here's some ideas of some things that you could really focus on. So Trader Joe's customer experience, so talk about being a customer of the business, talk about your career ambitions and how Trader Joe matches up with those ambitions, talk about a love of varied work, enjoying working customer service, and if you know someone who works for or has worked for Trader Joe's in the past and they really enjoyed their experience and like their job, you can share in their enthusiasm. You don't have to name them, but you could talk about that you've spoken to people who work in the company and say the positive things that they've said. Don't say any of the negatives, say the positives. So if you plan out and bullet point a good answer using this, you will succeed in this question, and that will really help you in getting the job. So the next question that I've seen quite often come up in Trader Joe's interviews is a really simple one, but it sometimes throws people, which is, what is your favorite Trader Joe's product? So before your interview, I'd recommend you just look at Trader Joe's products, choose one that you really like, and then I'm going to give you a series of questions and things to think about. And if you answer each of these, even just in your head or you write it down, you will have a really brilliant answer to this prepared. So the first thing is make sure it's something that is Trader Joe's branded. Don't choose a product that you can get anywhere else. You want something that is unique to them. It is their product. Then you want to talk about, what do you enjoy about it? Why do you like this product so much? Think about those sort of things. Then talk about why it's good value. So perhaps compare to other retailers and say, I could get a slightly similar product that's not quite as good, but it's more expensive. So I can get a better product here for less money. That is linking to the whole point of Trader Joe's, which is to get products prices down and deliver good value. Then make sure you make a comparison to the competition. So why do you like this product so much, and why is it better than other stores? Because you're applying to this store, so you want to be really positive about Trader Joe's and compare negatively to the other competition, which is why you shop at this store, for example. Then the next thing that you can do to make your answer even better is to link to Trader Joe's buying process. So the skill in Trader Joe's is what's called the buyers. These are the people that go out and actually buy the products in. So they rigorously test products, they taste the products, and Trader Joe's is a very brutal company in terms of underperforming products. So if they put something on the shelf and it is not selling and it is not successful, it's gone. And so everything that is in a Trader Joe's store is there because people like it and people consistently buy it. If it doesn't do well, it's pulled and it's gone. So that is why the products at Trader Joe's tend to be quite good, because if they're not good enough, they get pulled off the shelves. So basically answer each of these questions and talk about the buying process in that they source the best products and they remove those that don't perform, and you will have a really great answer to this. The next one that you need to prepare for is they will ask about your work experience. And so you want to be ready with a system to answer this and be prepared for some slightly awkward questions that you have to preempt. So when you're asked about your work experience, start by thinking about what they want. They want someone with the right skills. They want no big negatives. So if they're looking at your work history and find something really awful, that's not going to go very well. So if there is something in your work history that's not perfect, you need to be prepared to smooth that over. And so if you've got someone with the right skills and no big negatives, that makes you a great hire. So let's look at how you actually answer this question. So you start by giving your full job title. So say exactly what you did in your job by describing the job title. And then we get in more detail where you start saying your role and responsibilities. So once you give the job title, actually explain in detail what you actually had to do and what you were responsible for. And you may think that, for example, just being a waiter or a waitress in a restaurant, well, that's obvious. But actually, there's a lot of different things that you're doing in that role. You could be managing customer complaints. You're delivering customer service. You're the face of the brand. You're lots of things. And you can talk about all of that and show off that actually there's lots of great experience in all the roles that you've had. You perhaps will be surprised when you really think about all the different skills that you've developed in the different jobs that you've had. Have a good reason for leaving ready. They sometimes ask about, why did you leave that job? Why did you go from here to here? And you want to have a good reason. So were you relocating with a partner? Were you looking for a new challenge in a new job? Were you switching industry? Things like that. Did you get a pay rise by moving to another job? These are all good reasons for moving on. Having an argument with co-workers and falling out and leaving in a huff and having thrown a massive tantrum, they are not good reasons for leaving. And so if they see a negative, bad reason for leaving, that's going to reduce your score on this question and is going to be really negative. And then the thing that people always miss, and it's a really bad opportunity that's being thrown away, which is that they fail to link it to this job. Make sure you actually explain why these previous roles are going to make you better at Trader Joe's. So think about the jobs you've done in the past and then have one sentence ready linking every job to the job that you're applying for now. What experience and skills have you gained that are going to make you really great at this role? Then some tips for success. So link to what Trader Joe's wants to hear. What do they actually care about? They care about customer service. They care about having people that are reliable, and they care about people that are going to deliver the best for their customers. And that's the things that you want to focus on. And you want to make a point of showing off all the skills that you have. And the more skills that you can describe, the better a hire you look like. So let's move on to a last one, which is some questions that you can ask at the end of the interview. So definitely ask about what happens next in the hiring process. Show that you're really keen on this job and you're really interested to know when you will find out and whether you'll get some detailed feedback. The next one you could ask about is the team and the organization that you're working with. Show your interest in the team and learning more about the business that you could be joining. You could ask them what you can do now to be really well prepared for starting when you get the job if you're successful. You may want to ask about what are the characteristics of really great Trader Joe's employees, and you must make up one question on the day. So when they're talking to you, if there's anything you wonder about, just take a mental note of it and then ask that at the end of the interview. So I hope this video was helpful to you. If it was, please like and subscribe below and put in the comments the questions that they asked you and share your experiences with everybody else. And finally, thank you very much for watching.